Not the wind as Floyd heads north. Some of the worst flooding ever hits North Carolina as the hurricane dumps more than a foot of rain. Power's out to more than 1 million customers. But damage overall is less than had been feared. The storm takes off up the coast. New York and New England in for a pounding. And murder in the sanctuary, trying to make sense of a church massacre.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting tonight from Wilmington, North Carolina.
Good evening from now calm, clear, and beautiful Wilmington, North Carolina, very near where at least part of the eye of Hurricane Floyd, now Tropical Storm Floyd, is said to have passed during the night. Looks can be deceiving. At this very same spot overnight, there was pounding surf, endless rain all around, and winds, the weather experts say, of at least 110 miles an hour. Wilmington was working very hard today trying to get back to normal amid dislocation of millions of people throughout the eastern seaboard. Water and coastal flooding. But less overall damage, certainly wind damage, than feared, are the main storylines of this hurricane today. This scene is repeated from the Carolinas on up, starting right here with Wilmington. As the hurricane's eye came ashore here overnight, the storm dumped more than a foot of rain. Sea surges are said to have topped 11 feet. Life on the East Coast was disrupted as Floyd's fury moved north. At least 7 are reported dead. Almost 1.5 million people in the Carolinas and Virginia lost power. School was closed for 2 million children in New York and New Jersey alone. As the hurricane moved up the coast, losing strength along the way, in Norfolk, Virginia, the water was so high, whole neighborhoods were waterlogged, and Virginia closed the 18-mile-long Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. When the hurricane pushed through Maryland, an unintended Ferris wheel in Ocean City, whipped by wind, was spinning its wheel on its own. And in nearby towns, there were umbrellas without people. And all up and down the coast of New Jersey, pounding surf ate away at the beautiful and fragile beachfront. As Floyd blew into Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, rush hour turned to flood and gush hour. In New York City, most employees were sent home early, with the storm making a mess of the morning and evening rush hours. President Clinton released $500 million in disaster aid and defended one of the largest peacetime evacuations in U.S. history. In the air over the Carolina coast this morning, it was almost like the hurricane that never happened. On the ground, there were dramatic snapshots of destruction, but that wasn't really the story here.
Now let me show you something. We've been up in a helicopter for more than an hour, flying right along the water's edge over all those beach communities, where it was thought that perhaps the damage would be heaviest because it was here that the hurricane's eye, its core, reached landfall. The remarkable thing was how little damage we saw for the last hour, not how much. I don't recall any Category 2 hurricane cause so little damage.
Back now on the ground in Wilmington, we take you to our CBS News correspondents, fanned out along the Atlantic coast, up above this place, which is where the storm moved after it moved in here last night. We begin where the hurricane headed first from here, immediately north to the upper mid-Atlantic state of Virginia. CBS's Diana Olick is there.
Even before the full fury of Floyd hit, parts of eastern Virginia were going under. Overnight, rescue workers roamed neighborhood streets in boats, not trucks, and evacuated some who had misjudged how fast the storm would move in. By morning, the rain was coming down an inch an hour, turning off-ramps into rivers. More than 100,000 people were without water and power.
Floyd is now passing through downtown Norfolk, and the worst of it isn't the wind, but all this water. It was just 2 weeks ago that Dennis passed through here, saturating the place. And now there's simply nowhere for all the water to go.
Just a lot of water. It's just not going anywhere.
The storm came and went in a few hours, and residents quickly came out of hiding to find their front lawns didn't look quite the same.
The bench is almost gone. Hang around. It'll be up to the treetops.
Have you ever seen it this bad out here before?
Never, never. And I've been here 10 years.
Getting around took some imagination, as scenes like this replayed themselves right up the East Coast. Floyd's flash flooding hit both Maryland and Washington, D.C. Both had already canceled school and given workers the day off. Up on Capitol Hill, the House went home, but the Senate stuck it out. As Floyd flew up the East Coast, his winds weren't nearly as impressive as expected, although they did manage to undress parts of this high-rise in downtown Norfolk. Still, most will remember Floyd for the floods, water that went where it wanted and forced already saturated cities to swallow even more. Diana Olick, CBS News, Norfolk.
Throughout the Northeast, many residents in densely populated cities, not just Philadelphia and New York, were forced to slog through the day and on into the night. CBS's Russ Mitchell is tracking that part of the story in Atlantic City. Russ?
Atlantic City, the rain and the wind picked up, and it was thought that the brunt of the hurricane would roll through here sometime tonight, but it appears that this storm is moving so quickly, the worst is over here. That is not the case for others in the Northeast. We saw wind gusts here today of up to 50 miles an hour. The warnings are out, and folks are paying attention. Floyd may not have the same punch as 24 hours ago, but he's still making big waves in the Northeast.
We've seen some rough winds down here, not this rough.
2 million school kids in New Jersey and New York City got the day off. And after a calm morning, the resort towns along the Jersey shore slowly saw signs of Floyd. It brought strong winds and flooding, cleaning out boardwalks, scaring even longtime residents.
I'm a little bit afraid this time.
And frustrating late-season tourists.
Came here to get some candy and things, and everything's closed.
Despite the New Jersey hospitality, Floyd is even crashing festivities at this week's Miss America pageant. Bleachers for tomorrow night's parade had to be torn down for fear they would blow away. In Philadelphia, the storm's pounding forced road closings. And buckets of rain in New York City brought even more gridlock, prompting the mayor to give non-emergency city workers the day off and urge businesses to close early.
We're dealing with a very serious storm. You can hopefully avoid any fatal danger. You can hopefully avoid injury. You cannot avoid inconvenience.
So while now Tropical Storm Floyd is still doing its work in the Northeast, the headline here, Dan, from Atlantic City is, it could have been worse. Back to you.
Thanks, Russ. While the storm left many New York area residents frustrated and howling, it was near here, near Wilmington, at about 3 a.m. that Floyd made landfall with a howl. Bob Orr was out there when it happened.
Howling winds signaled the pre-dawn assault by Floyd on a deserted downtown Wilmington. While the winds on the mainland were less than what forecasters had feared, hurricane gusts, some topping 130 miles per hour, did lash the fragile barrier islands. But daylight brought a respite from the winds and the waves, and for all here, a collective sigh of relief.
What was predicted to hit here and what actually hit here, we were very fortunate. I think that the winds lessened considerably. The storm surge was less.
In the coastal town of Wrightsville Beach, hours of pounding surf left streets clogged with sand and chunks of debris. Damage, though, was minimal. A boat ripped from its moorings, a roof peeled back on a home.
There was a good 1.5 feet of water just coming in through the cracks in the door.
Ruger Hauk and his brother Dave were among the very few who ignored a mandatory evacuation order and rode out the storm.
We were walking down the beach access, and the water was just rushing like a funnel down the streets.
It's water that will be Floyd's legacy. More than 20 inches of rain in 30 hours swamped low-lying areas with floodwaters from downtown Wilmington to the beachfront. This is Lakeview Drive. Life here is still days away from returning to normal. Thousands of people are still without power, and the barrier islands are still off limits, even for residents anxious to see what Floyd's left behind.
There's a county curfew. You're not supposed to be out on the road.
Officials tonight are just now beginning to start assessing the damage. It is certain, though, to run into the millions of dollars, but nobody's really complaining. Make no mistake about it, this was a very close call, and everyone here knows it could have been so much worse. Dan?
Thanks, Bob. Now officially downgraded to a tropical storm, Floyd is tracking north-northeast
at a swift 30 miles an hour and is expected to weaken further. But tropical storm warnings run from Cape Charles Light, Virginia to Merrimack River, Massachusetts. Storm surges, smaller than expected, are subsiding. Wind-driven coastal flooding is still a danger in some places, and inland 5 to 10 inches of rain can be expected a lot of places. Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, relief and anger in the aftermath of the great evacuation, and questions about why hurricanes seem to be so hard to predict even with the latest high-tech equipment, and searching for the reasons behind another killing spree.
Thank you, Aleve. For years, I often had a hard time walking, even had knee surgery. I tried all kinds of pain relievers. Finally, a doctor suggested Aleve. Just 2 worked all day. Soon I could dance all night again.
Aleve, all day strong, all day long.
Ask your doctor about Viagra.
If you think St. John's Bay clothing feels good on your body, wait till you feel what it does for your head. All the pocket zippers and hoods you need to go gently down life's stream. St. John's Bay, clothes that fit your state of mind. Every day's the weekend in St. John's Bay, only at JCPenney.
50 is courageous, confident, beautiful. 50 is being who you are. To make sure being who you are stays beautiful, there's Pro Vital for skin that looks revitalized, resilient, remarkable. Just like you. Pro Vital from Olay. Proven to be why women over 50 look so wonderful.
In Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and to a certain extent here in North Carolina, there have been a lot of questions raised about how the mass evacuation was handled. An example is just down the coast from here in Charleston, South Carolina. With that example, CBS's Randall Pinkston.
Except for fallen trees and down power lines, Charleston survived its narrow brush with Floyd's wrath.
We're going to try our best to get it cleared up today.
But this was the biggest operation today, the trip back home for those who were evacuated. A trip which moved smoothly once the state made all lanes of the interstate one way.
Definitely was better coming back than going. Okay, 100%.
More than the wind or the rain or the damage, Hurricane Floyd will be remembered around here as a traffic nightmare. Because the state delayed reversing the highways during the escape 2 days ago, cars and trucks backed up for miles.
13-hour trip coming, running away from Floyd, and I guess now it'll be an hour and a half getting back to Charleston.
Now there's concern about the next time a mandatory evacuation order is issued.
The experience going to Columbia was just horrendous, and I'm afraid that people might not leave just because of that.
As he reopened his shop in downtown Charleston, Mike Loggins reflected the community's sense of relief.
It was handled poorly. Just thank God that nothing disastrous came out of it for us.
South Carolina was lucky this time and may have learned a valuable lesson for the next storm. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, Charleston.
There are also a lot of questions being asked about what caused the evacuations, which is the information coming from the National Weather Service. Some of the guesses by the Weather Service proved to be inaccurate about Floyd's direction and the danger involved. CBS's Anthony Mason has been digging into this.
As Hurricane Floyd was building force over the Atlantic 5 days ago, scientists felt confident the storm was going to make a turn north toward the Carolinas.
That Floyd was not going to make a direct hit on Florida.
And John Jones of NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, says
that's a very dramatic improvement in our forecasting, and we think we did very well with Floyd.
For the forecasters, the average error on landfall of a hurricane is about 200 miles. With Floyd, they were only off by 100.
We've had a number of breakthroughs in the science of hurricane forecasting. We're doing much better now at knowing where hurricanes are going to go.
The reason scientists can now launch an aerial assault at approaching hurricanes, NOAA's new $15 million high-altitude jet sent back critical information about Floyd.
This flies around the hurricane to give us a better reading of the environment around it.
And these C-130s flying laboratories send state-of-the-art sensors into the storm's eye and walls, measuring wind speeds all the way down to the sea's surface, information satellites cannot see.
But we're still woefully inadequate when it comes to the total understanding of what causes the hurricane to form and move like it does.
So the forecasters were especially cautious about Floyd and warned Florida about a possible hit. For all that they now know, scientists caution, there's still so much more that they don't. Anthony Mason, CBS News, New York.
I'll be back later in the broadcast with more about Hurricane Floyd and where it may be headed and some of the fallout from it. But up next will be Bob Schieffer in New York with some of the rest of the day's news, including the investigation of that massacre in a Texas church.
Why do I rent from Enterprise? Very simple. No stress. They arranged to pick me up free, so I don't have to ask anyone for a ride. See? No stress. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
One word convinced me an herbal could help me maintain emotional balance. Centrum.
Centrum St. John's wort is different. Some brands can lack natural ingredients. Only Centrum uses Pharmaprint for a more complete herbal every time. Centrum herbals, each naturally more complete.
Welcome to My Mailboxes, etc. You know, this may look like a regular mailbox, but let me tell you the secret. You get a street address, not just a P.O. box number. That means we can sign for your FedEx shipments and other packages. You get an entire support staff. Where else are you going to be able to call and check your mail? I mean, come on, who's going to do that for you? We'll also forward that mail anywhere in the world. Mailboxes, etc. We're making business easier. We're making life easier. Can your mailbox do that?
Ask your doctor about Viagra.
Want to color your gray beard or mustache and look natural? Get Just for Men Gel.
You look so natural, no one can tell with Just for Men Gel.
Brush in and in 5 minutes, gray is gone.
No one can tell with Just for Men Gel.
I need strong arthritis relief. I want soft skin. Now I get both.
Introducing new Arthricare hand and body lotion. Fast relief of minor arthritis pain plus special skin softeners. Arthricare lotion. Pain relief plus moisturizers.
All in one.
And good evening from New York. Police and federal agents are searching for clues, however small, in yet another gun massacre. This one last night at a youth service inside a Baptist church in Fort Worth, Texas. Both weapons used by the gunman were traced to the same flea market in Grand Prairie, Texas. Bob McNamara begins our coverage.
Today, as the first flowers appeared at the shooting scene, police named the killer.
Larry Ashbrook. He's a white male.
But if 47-year-old Larry Ashbrook had a motive to his madness, it apparently died with him.
And we don't have any significant information in regards to why he committed this crime.
Yeah, there's a shooter at Westwood Baptist Church.
Last night, a flurry of 911 calls brought police to the scene.
All right, how many shots were fired? About 6 or 8. The guy pointed the gun at me and shot at me.
A Baptist youth service was the gunman's target.
4 or 5 people got shot, and like one of my friends got shot. She's dead.
The shooter fired at least 30 shots into the crowd. The first police officer there was Chip Gillette.
And we went in, and then pow, 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 pow. It was silence other than the firing.
Amid the terror, the wounded were tended to and prayed over. Distraught parents ran to emergency rooms. Among the 8 dead was the killer who took his own life.
I think our society is fragmenting and breaking up.
Police say the shooter had no criminal record, no hate group ties.
There's not been anything that we have uncovered that would lead us to believe that he purposely selected this church for any reason at all.
The gunman left in his wake chaos and questions. And for people here, one more reason to pray. Bob McNamara, CBS News, Fort Worth.
I'm Richard Schlesinger. In this case, just like so many of these cases, what happened is painfully clear. Why it happened will probably never be known.
He has all the appearance of being somebody who was paranoid and somebody that had some real frustration at the world.
The search for answers began immediately at Larry Ashbrook's house and yielded details about his life that were more disturbing than revealing.
He's trashed his house. He's punched holes in the wall. Furniture has been destroyed. Photographs have been cut up, faces removed from the photographs.
Ashbrook was 47 and lived here with his father until his father died last July. He was unemployed and not well liked on his street.
He would shoot the finger, he would holler profanity, drive off, speed off, come in, slam doors.
One neighbor recalled how her friend told her what happened.
And she said, "Have you watched the news tonight?" I said, "Yes." And she said, "Did you know you live next door to a mass murderer?" And I said, "No, but I'm not surprised."
By all accounts, this suburban Fort Worth neighborhood was pretty much Larry Ashbrook's world. Except for a stint in the Navy, he stayed pretty close to home, right up until the end. The Wedgwood Baptist Church is just about 15 minutes away. And that is where, for reasons only he understood, Larry Ashbrook committed a crime that shocked everyone, except people who knew him. Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, Fort Worth.
And just ahead on the CBS Evening News, the UN peacekeeping force in East Timor is growing, with 200 Americans on the way.
Allergies knocking you flat? Try non-drowsy Allegra. Only Allegra has fexofenadine. For people 12 and over, ask your doctor or pharmacist for more information. Side effects are low and may include drowsiness, cold or flu, nausea, or menstrual pain. Allegra, so you can enjoy the world around you.
Have you seen the latest? One-a-day joint health with glucosamine. A unique blend designed to help you maintain flexibility. It's from One-a-day. And just what you need to feel your best.
You can't live without water. Can you live without art? The bold look of Kohler.
What if Dr. Frankenstein's experiment had worked? And instead of being ugly and ruthless, the monster was handsome and charming. Would the villagers still have hunted him down? Or would they have invited him in and introduced him to their daughters? Introducing the all-new 2000 Mitsubishi Eclipse, nicely equipped at 17.7. It's alive.
Fortunately for Millie, Dr. Espinoza was in the office early, while someone else was drafting the marketing plan to sell his home. At 11, he was making his rounds, instead of visiting his title company. At 1 p.m., he was giving Pam good news, instead of checking for disclosure documents. And by the time Dr. Espinoza wrote the day's last prescription, someone else was at his home meeting a prospective buyer. You've got a life. We let you live it. We're realtors. Real estate is our life.
In addition to Floyd and the Fort Worth shootings, we want to break you up to date now on some other major stories that are occurring today. A massive explosion has demolished yet another apartment building in Russia, the fourth in 2 weeks, blamed on Islamic terrorists. At least 17 people were killed in today's blast in southern Russia near Dagestan, where Russian troops are fighting Islamic rebels. The UN peacekeeping force for East Timor is building up, with the arrival today in Australia of 250 British Gurkha troops. The Gurkhas and thousands of Australian troops will be the first to reach East Timor as early as Saturday. President Clinton today ordered 200 U.S. support troops to join the operation.
This force is well equipped for the job, and it is a job that is in the interest of peace and stability.
A week after the release of 11 jailed Puerto Rican nationalists, President Clinton today invoked executive privilege in the case. He is refusing to give a House panel documents related to his grant of clemency. He said he was acting on the legal advice of Attorney General Reno. Microsoft mogul Bill Gates is reaching into his pockets to donate $1 billion to fund full college scholarships for minority students. Gates Foundation says the money will support 1,000 students per year over the next 20 years. And Dan Rather will be back in just a minute from North Carolina with a report on the final push of Hurricane Floyd.
Great meal. Uh-oh, gas pressure. What now? What else? Gas X, with the most powerful medicine for fast relief. Nothing works faster.
Hey, want to go for ice cream?
Gas X, the power to fight gas fast.
Great news for all you cats. Shock!
Marv, we can't buy this stuff ourselves.
I'm up. The Whiskas you love in a can now comes in the new Flavor Lock pouch.
Whiskas. What cats want.
Ask your doctor about Viagra.
Don't wait one more day. Ask your doctor now about Flonase nasal spray or call 1-800-FLONASE. When your doctor writes your prescription for Flonase nasal spray, you'll be glad you took the time. Why wait? All you want is Flonase.
My feet are killing me.
Now relieve all kinds of foot pain, even arthritis, with new Podiasin Soak and Massage Gel.
Is Podiasin really different?
Yes, Podiasin is the only medicated gel that works two ways. It dissolves in water for instant pain relief, then when pores open, rubs in deeper for long-lasting relief. No ordinary rub or soak works like that.
There's nothing like Podiasin. The pain is gone.
Only Podiasin is specially made to relieve all kinds of foot pain.
All right, kid. Here we go.
10-9. What do you got? What do you got?
What? Yeah. All right, come on, come on.
What would you do if someone you loved had a heart attack?
Yeah!
Did you know it's now been proven that the same Bear aspirin you have in your bag for muscle aches may actually help stop you from dying if you take it during a heart attack?
Downtown. Lucky shot.
Can your pain reliever do that? Talk to your doctor now.
Next time I'll go easier on you.
Bear, powerful pain relief and so much more.
Updating you now on tonight's top story. A downgraded and weakening tropical storm Floyd is tracking up the northeast coast. The main threats now, heavy rain and coastal flooding. Floyd generated a lot of both on its journey from massive hurricane to tropical storm, from first landfall of the eye here in North Carolina on up to the mid-Atlantic and upper northeast. Also in its wake is, thankfully, less damage than was expected, and questions about what is generally regarded to have been the largest peacetime evacuation in our nation's history. All part of our world tonight. Coming up later tonight on this CBS station, a special edition of 48 Hours. CBS News will have new aspects to report on the storm and more on the investigation of the church massacre in Fort Worth. That's 48 Hours at 10/9 Central Time. With special thanks for everybody in the Carolinas who've treated us so well. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News, tonight from Wilmington, North Carolina. I'll see you later on 48 Hours.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online at keyword CBS News.
Hurricane Floyd. How severe will the damage be, and when will residents be able to go home? Experience CBS News.
Coming up on News Channel 5 at 6, police make a giant drug bust, and they say the drug activity started in Bellevue.
Plus, Metro Police want to make sure your kids stay in school, and they've got a drastic plan to keep them there.
I'm Mark Bellinger live at I-65 and Harding Place. This is an area you may want to avoid this weekend. I'll tell you why coming up next.
I'm waiting for my blind date. Please, just let him be different. Someone who's shy and sensitive. Someone who's into Mozart.